We're back with Bobby and JJ Radio. We were speaking with Andy Tawari earlier in the show. He was a managing partner of Tawari and Bell, a law firm out here in Helotes, Texas. He talked about medical identity theft. Also talking to Mr. Credit. Ask Mr. Credit. We're asking him personally today about just regular identity theft. If you missed any of the show, do not cry. You can go to bobbyandjjradio.com. We have everything on our YouTube page, SoundCloud. You can download it on Mondays. You can stream it online. It's always available. Back with Adam Hetrick. Adam, what are some of the signs that you can know that you're being identity thieved? I don't know how to say that past tense.
Signs that you're a victim.
A victim, there you go.
Making up terms here.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize that they're a victim until they start getting calls. They start getting contacted about accounts that they have no idea.
Yeah. You're like Victoria's Secret. That's
yeah,
cool.
Exactly. You're like, what?
I never do that. Yeah.
I never spend more than $10.
People look at their credit reports and they have no idea what some of the items are on the report, and it's not just about collections; it's credit cards and those types of things.
Right.
So, what are some of the first steps to take if you do become a victim of theft, identity theft?
There you go.
Well, so the first step is identify that you're a victim and try to determine. Are you a real victim of identity theft, or are you dealing with like a mixed merge file like what we talked about? So is somebody really taking your identity, or is the problem with the credit bureaus?
Sure.
And once you've identified that, it's get a copy of your credit report and go through and identify all of those accounts. Then you need to go to the FTC's website. And again, that's the Federal Trade Commission, not the Free Taco Club.
Sure.
Just so we're all on the same page.
Oh, there's a free taco.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I've been paying for them for
awesome.
20 years.
And you have to go on and complete what's called an identity theft affidavit. It's basically they're going to ask you what your story is, and you're going to swear on an official document that is true.
Right.
And then the next thing you do is you go and you file a police report claiming identity theft. You can do that online. Now SAPD has an option where you can just fill that online. You put the whole story in, everything that happened. You print it out, and then you put those two reports together, and then you have your identity theft report. So that's what you're going to use. That's what you're going to give to the creditors, the credit bureaus. You're going to give that to everybody. Once you have that report ready, you send it into the credit bureaus.
Wow, it seems like a lot of work, man.
It is a lot of work.
I give up.
Yeah.
I'll keep it on my record.
So the first step, keep the card 20%.
The first step is to admit that you
have a problem.
That you have a problem. That's what it is.
No, to make sure that it's happening to you, and then it's not the merge. Now, for everyone that may have not been here earlier in the show, the merge that you're talking about is that it's an actual mess up of someone that has a very similar name to you or a similar identity
that lives in the same zip code
or something like that, or your dad or
someone your seniors.
Yeah, not that someone deliberately went to go take out an account for you under your name, but let's say Robert, or like me and my dad have the same name. Maybe his stuff is all mine, or vice versa.
Exactly. Like we see this all the time. We see this. Every day we come across issues like this, and we get on the phone or we contact the creditor that's on there, and we get all the paperwork, and we find out like, oh, okay, so there's another Bobby Cortez that lives 2 blocks over, and we're able to help people get it straightened out.
But all that long process that you talked about, you do all this stuff for all your clients.
We do all this stuff, yeah, because it's a lot of legwork, and it's a lot of determining what my next step is and what should I do and how should I do it.
Let's break down how this is going to affect, like all these little things, how they affect your actual credit. Like what happens to, like, let's say I have perfect, or what people think is perfect credit, and then this stuff starts to happen. How does it affect it overall?
When you have good credit or when you have perfect credit, any minor hiccup has that much more of a significant impact on your score.
Sure.
What most people don't realize is that your creditors are constantly checking your credit. So if you have an account, if you have a credit card with a big bank, that big bank is going and checking your credit every month to make sure your credit their risk stays the same. Mm-hmm. So you become a victim, you don't know, but you start getting all of your credit cards start closing your accounts, and they start dropping your limit. So all of a sudden, the problem that was away from you, that was about a credit card that you had no idea, now you've lost your ability to borrow money.
Right.
And if you need anything, you're gonna pay significantly more for it.
Yeah, either with interest rate or fees or, or like having the limit lowered, that can really change someone's livelihood, right?
Exactly, because they lower the limit. 30% of your credit score is debt versus limit.
Exactly.
And they drop your limit down to your balance, and all of a sudden that card's maxed out. So even if there was no other negatives on your report, you're going to see a significant drop in your credit score. And what happens is things fall like dominoes.
Right.
When one goes, they all go.
Sure.
So if you're just tuning in, we're listening to Bobby and JJ Radio. We're sitting with Adam Hetrick with the Credit RepairMen. Can you tell us what can your team do to help somebody that's been a victim of identity theft?
It all boils down to knowing what to do and persistence. So we help them set them up to take the necessary steps to get the paperwork that we need. And then we just relentless in going back to the creditors and the people on the credit report to make sure all that comes off, because you're not liable and you shouldn't pay, and you should never go on and pay something that if you're a victim of identity theft and you go on and pay it, even if it doesn't seem like that much and you need it done for this, because you're essentially admitting that it was yours, and you're losing rights when you do those types of things.
So yeah, if it's a $10 charge and you're like, I'm just going to pay it, you're kind of admitting that you were, not only was it your charge, but you were late.
Exactly.
Right. And so you've now taken all the credibility away from yourself as someone with good credit, right?
And then when the thing that pops up that's $5,000, they're gonna say like, "Hey, well, you just paid the one that was $10." Like,
yeah,
I only paid the little ones.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So, it's how can someone really prevent themselves from being a victim of identity theft?
So the first thing everybody should do is reach into your pocket, pull out your wallet, and take out your Social Security card. If anybody's carrying their cards now, they need to stop doing that. And if you're like, I used to be guilty of this too, and I've gotten away from it, but I had a little paper that I carried around in my wallet with all of my passwords and pins and all this stuff. You'd be surprised at the number of people that still carry that with them.
Sure.
So go in and take all that information out. Get like a password app on your phone where you can keep and log everything.
Sure.
So JJ actually uses his Social Security card as a profile pic for his Facebook. Is that wrong?
Is that how I got his number?
Yeah.
I thought I pulled it out of his wallet when it fell out at the bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom. So what are some other ways of people stealing identities?
So people are stealing identity in all types of ways. We see a lot of child identity theft where it could be a parent, but it's not always a parent that's taking somebody's identity. Somebody brought into my office, they had a credit card offer that came to their dog.
Wow.
And they brought this in this week, and it's because the dog had a first name, a last name, a Facebook page.
Chewy.
They had all kinds of information.
One of our clients has a dog named Chewy.
His Facebook page, he has more followers than I do.
So Chewy might be able to get a credit card.
He's better looking than Bobby. I mean, he's got a lot of things going for him.
It's close.
He's got a lot of things going for him. And you also talk about passports. People, forging passports, death certificates, social security numbers. Bobby's been catfished a couple times.
Yeah, can you explain what catfished is?
No.
So
we don't have
catfishing is,
that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, that really can be another show. And that's identity theft. I mean, people are taking their pictures, taking a picture from somebody else, creating a profile for that person.
Becoming a person on social media.
Exactly. Contacting people.
Adam, thanks for being on the show. We always love when you're here. I know
my credit goes up every time you come in the show.
He does every single time.
Right.
But thank you so much.
I should charge you for that.
You should. But I know that you're on the show every week with your Ask Mr. Credit, but we're glad when you're here in person. If anyone wants to get a hold of Adam or his people, it's thecreditrepairmen.com. Again, that's thecreditrepairmen.com, where all of his information is on our profile, our show. He's a show partner at bobbyandjjradio.com. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. Next week, we're going green. We're going to have some CPS representatives. We're going to figure out how to get your house green. Thanks for joining us. This is Bobby and JJ Radio.
Bye.